What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone had a legendary week. We are 1 week away from Niners training camp. And of course, it's official now. I got my tickets, so I will be there. Both open practices that are available to the public that coincide with the show. So that is August 2nd and August 9th. Also, of course, I will be there Dwight Clark Day to pay homage to number 87. But today we're going to, beyond that, today we're going to go ahead and we are going to go over the Niners linebackers and D-line and our last position preview before training camp. But before we get started with that, we remind everybody to listen to the end of the show to get a special coupon code to save 10% off of For the Faithful by the Faithful Season 2 apparel, exclusively available at ninerfaithfulradio.com/shop. Help out Niner Faithful Radio by using our shop49ers.com affiliate link and save 10%. All you have to do is click on the link in the podcast or video description. Go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. And of course, go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, and follow us on social media at Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, and at Niner Faithful R on Twitter. Boys and girls of all ages, faithful of all ages, let's get the show cracking.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
All right. And we're back. So today, of course, we're going to get into Niners linebackers and Niners D linemen. But I don't think we have any breaking news with the team. I know everybody was all excited yesterday because Debo is back in the Bay, but he has a football camp apparently. So that's probably why he's back in the Bay. But I don't think Debo is going to be holding out. I honestly think Debo is at least going to play this season. After this season, we'll see what's up. But he's going to be a San Francisco 49er for the 2022 season. That much, I guarantee. And also, this was a pretty big news. The Niners have opened contract negotiations with Nick Bosa for an extension. Honestly, I'm surprised it took this long to announce. I actually honestly thought they were going to wait one more year. But because Nick, regardless of whether it's this season, next season, whatever it is, Nick Bosa is going to get paid. And we'll speak a little bit more on that when we get to D linemen. But we got a viewer on YouTube. What's up, viewer on YouTube? We're going to go ahead and start with linebackers. But also, I want to remind everybody, it's been officially announced. I'll wait until one comes on the show, or at least I ask him if I could talk about it before we do. But a pretty dope special guest has been announced and officially announced that's going to the Denver takeover that yours truly is going to be at, along with my future fiance, and a lot of different chapters. So if you're going to go to a Niner road game this year, Denver seems to be the one to go to. There's apparently tomorrow going to be another announcement as far as another special guest that will be appearing in the takeover. but I don't even know who it is. So we'll have to wait till at least next week's show to for y'all to find out, unless you follow your boy on Facebook or follow Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook. I'll probably share it there. But yeah, so Niner linebackers. I'm not going to read the what is the linebacker part of this article. If you want, go ahead and go to Niners.com or 49ers.com and look at it. But or stats relevant to the linebacker. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this show, you already know. Position outlook. Oh, before also I start, a big shout out. I want to make sure I say this name right. I hope I am. Big shout out to C for talking to me at work. She came into work and she liked the tattoo and noticed my. I forget how we got started talking about Niners, but yeah, we had a wonderful conversation, and when we were talking Niner football, she talked about how she was getting chills and everything. I said, yeah, you definitely need to come to Empire Row, as does everybody else. We will be kicking it off the home opener September 18th, so make sure you check that out. Come to Green Lot 1, Pole 20, aka Empire Row, for the best tailgate in the league, hands down, no competition. So anyway, big shout out to C. I told her to come. Everybody else can come. If you get goosebumps talking about Niner football, come to Empire Row and be amongst your people, because we're about that life. So, position breakdown. So we got Aziz Al-Shair, Burks, Demetrius Flanagan Foles, Jeremiah Gramo, Dre Greenlaw, Marcelo, McCray Ball, Sigon Obili, Curtis Robinson, and Fred Warner. So it's quite a lot of turnover since last year. What? Aziz, Demetrius Flanagan, Foles, Dre Greenlaw, and Fred Warner are the only returning linebacker. I shouldn't say only, but are the returning linebackers from last year. So real quick to get into linebackers we kept last year. We kept 5: Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Marshall Harris, Aziz Al-Shair, and Demetrius Flanagan Foles. Honestly, I really only see one spot up for grabs. I mean, obviously, there are multiple spots up for grabs. Realistically, there's 2 spots up for grabs. I mean, Demetrius Flanagan Foles isn't a lock to make the roster, but his special teams value, the fact that he's cheap on a 1-year deal, and I don't believe anybody else is on more of a deal than that. Let me see. Here we go. Right here. Wow, it doesn't say the contract he signed. That's interesting. But yeah, originally drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the 3rd round, 88th overall of the 2018 draft, Burks appeared in 59 games, 7 starts, registered 59 defensive tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and half a sack within 4 years. Burks' best performance with the Packers came on special teams. The linebacker notched a total of 33 tackles on special teams in his career, the most on the team from 2018 to 2021. Last season, Burks finished second on the Packers with 10 special teams tackles during the regular season. I mean, from what I heard, and everybody's been saying, he's really respected special teams player. And so this would be somebody that would be in competition with Demetrius Flanagan Foles to be for that, last 2 roster spots. Or we'll say, because because we know Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Aziz Al-Shair are making this roster. So that's 2 spots up. A cheat code to next week. I am going to pick Orton Banks and Demetrius Fowler Fowles to both make this roster. But it's obviously going to be a competition. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Okay, sorry. Had to reorganize my notes. Okay, so going on to the rest of the linebackers, we have Aziz Al-Shaair. Aziz Al-Shaair stepped in for the teams when he was thrust into the starting role after Dre Greenlaw suffered a groin injuries in week 1 against the Lions. With 13 starts last season, Al-Shaair, I don't know why I struggle. I can say Aziz Al-Shaair, but I struggle to say Al-Shaair. Recorded 102 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups, an interception, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries, and 9 tackles for loss. Aziz is gangster. The Niners are only they're both coming up on contracts, and the Niners are going to keep only one. And I think Aziz is going to make a run for it. Because the one thing about Dre Greenlaw is when he's on the field, he's amazing, but he does get hurt a lot. He really does get hurt a lot. So availability is your best ability. So I mean, is Dre Greenlaw is going to get top 10 linebacker money? Probably top 5, maybe even. Well, I'll have to study more. Jason's usually, up on free agency and stuff like that. So when he comes back on the show next week, I'll go ahead and we'll break it down or get into it at some point during the offseason next year. But I mean, Aziz is going to make the roster. He's definitely, if they treat Kate, I'd hate to lose him. I'm going to hate to lose him or Dre Greenlaw. But I would definitely hate to lose him because even if you say Dre Greenlaw is a better player, Aziz Al-Shaair is somebody you want to be. He's a starting linebacker. He's a Sam backer, which fine. We're mostly a nickel anyway. But maybe we don't play as much nickel this year. It was easy to take Al-Shaair off the field, when you have K'Wan Williams. But cornerback is or specifically nickelback is a question for this team. And so is it a situation where you say, hey, our third linebacker is better than our starting nickel corner, and you figure out what you can do from there? Just an interesting recall. I'm not saying all the time or that you're going to play 0 snaps with the nickel. But next to the D line, the linebacker group is probably the best group on the team. Because realistically, what is the Niners offensive line ranked without Trent Williams? Because I know people are going to say, what about the offensive line? Well, we have some question marks at every position except left tackle. I feel that there's no question marks except health, knock on wood, with our linebacking core. Even the most diehard realistic fan like myself has to say, hey, yeah, there are some question marks along the offensive line. So that's going to be an interesting wrinkle when you say, look, it was clear. I believe PFF was Diva. It was 5 players. Let me see if they have it on Niners.com. No, they don't. Let me see. Everything you need to know about camp. Okay, 10:15 to 12:15. Okay. Um. Okay. I was wondering if they announced when the first padded practice was, but they had. So it's going to be interesting to watch that all year. Moving on, Demetrius Flanagan fouls. In March, he signed a 1-year extension through 2022. Last year, he played in all 17 games and registered in the regular season and registered 20 tackles. Flanagan Falls flourished in the special teams role during 2 seasons on the team, missing just 2 tackles in both seasons. So I would want to say somebody's got to beat out Demetrius Flanagan Falls. Somebody's got to be better than him to make this roster over him. Now, could Burks be better than him? Yeah, but then that just means another linebacker has to be better than him. So there has to be 2 better linebackers on the bottom end of this roster for Demetrius Flanagan Falls not to make the team. I would think we all know removing, the Green Bay game, what an issue special teams was. Look, it cost us, realistically, it cost us both games against the Seahawks. The second one, it's easy to say that in hindsight because of the first touchdown they scored. But I think removing a quality special teams player is not going to make our unit better. Okay. Wi-Fi is a little testy right now. Moving on, you got Jeremiah Grammel. In 2021, Grammel started all 13 games at North Carolina and earning third team all ACC honors. He finished second on the team with 75 tackles, recorded a team leading 7 hurries, 5.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sack, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception, and 1 first fumble. In May, Gamble agreed to terms to 49ers to become an undrafted free agent. Honestly, I mean, if he shows up, the ball's out, and anything's possible. But I don't think he makes the roster. I think we're just simply too good. And I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything like that, but I don't want to. We're just too good at linebacker, I think, for him to make the team. Okay, moving on. We got Dre Greenlaw. We spoke a little bit about him. Oh, he only played 3 games last year due to injury. However, he didn't miss a tackle from week 18 through the postseason per PFF. When targeting Greenlaw, opposing quarterbacks posted a passing rating of just 60.2 last year. So we spoke about this already. It's not a question of play with Dre Greenlaw. It's a question of health. He can stay healthy. He's a top 10, top 5 linebacker in the league. It's just that simple. But I will say this: if the Niners don't pay Dre Greenlaw this upcoming offseason, somebody will. I promise you. Dre Greenlaw is going to make some money next year. Marcelo McCray Ball, as a team captain for Indiana University, McCray Ball recorded 40 tackles, 24 solos with 1 sack and interception of 4 packs breakups. In May, McCray Ball agreed to terms with the 49ers as an undrafted free agent. Sagan Obube, as a team captain for San Diego State, he began his career as a walk-on in 2021. He recorded 53 tackles, 29 solo, 2 2 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and 10 quarterback hurries in 14 games with 7 starts. Not bad. I mean, definitely in May he agreed to become an undrafted free or come to the team as a drafted free agent. Not bad. Don't think he's going to make the team, but him and McCray Ball are definitely practice squad candidates. Curtis Robinson. In December 2021, Curtis Robinson timed as a team practice squad ahead of their Week 14 matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Robinson originally entered the NFL after signing with the Denver Broncos as an undrafted free agent on May 14, 2021. Since joining the 49ers, he's been played in all 3 games and notched 1 tackle. Still, probably not going to make the roster. And last, but definitely not least, as the number 1 ranked linebacker in the NFL, Mr. Bam Bam Fred Warner has proven to be elite in both run and pass defensive coverage. With 158 total tackles, 66 assists, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 10 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, and a half a sack last season, including the playoffs, Warner has contributed a massive part of the team's top 7 defense by DVOA ranking. I mean, here's a little secret. Fred Warner's going to make the team. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a Twitch commercial so I can go ahead and grab my Gatorade and everything like that. We'll go ahead and we'll be back in 3 minutes. If you're on YouTube and Facebook or listening on the podcast, I'll be back before then. It's so weird watching me with the delay on Twitch or different video services. Okay. So how much time do we have left in our minute 50? So let me go ahead and actually ask Jay if I can go ahead and announce the special guest. Let's see. Search. Okay. Cool if I talk about this. All right, cool. Well, I just asked him, so we'll see what he says. If he gives his blessing, then I'll announce the special guest. Let me see. I'm pretty sure he'll be okay with it. Just want to give him that respect. We got 20 seconds left. So maybe he'll answer before we end the show. How How much time? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're back. So we went through practices. Now it's time for what everybody's been waiting for. The D line. So we'll start with Drake Jackson, of course, our second round pick, but our first pick in this year's draft. Our little by the numbers segment for him: 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 1 deflection in 2021. 5 tackles for loss in 2021, tied for 9th among Pac-12 defensive players. 28 game appearances, 26 starts, 103 career tackles, 25 tackles for loss, and 12 and a half sacks. Not bad for a second round pick. And it's not like we're asking him to be a game wrecker. This is somebody who we can bring on very slowly. And I think that fans should caution themselves if he's not a 3-down player right away. Matter of fact, if he's not even a 3-down player his first, maybe even second year, just because it's not like all of a sudden the Niners are not going to invest in the D line. We're going to invest in the D line in the draft next year, and probably a little bit in free agency, just because some players will leave, some players will come. It seems like the team is very key on just getting that one pass rusher that wants to come in for a 1-year deal, play for us, and then we're comfortable letting him walk next year when he get i.e. Kerry Hyder in 2021. So I'm excited about Drake Jackson. I think okay, so to get started, what we did, we kept 11 defensive linemen, which I believe is most, was most on the team. Most positions we kept last year on the team. No big surprise. So obviously, just off the bat, turnover wise, you're gonna have D Ford's gone, DJ Jones gone, Jatavius Street's gone, Zach Kerr's gone, Arden Key's gone, and then that's it. So that's already off the bat. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, 3. Oh, that's Puppy. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was Jay. Wait, did he comment? No. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I thought that was a response back to my comment. Okay, so forgive me. So there's going to be some turnover this year. 3 spots at least. Obviously, one of them is going to be filled by Drake Jackson. So you really got 2 spots that you're breaking down. Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Samson Ebukam, and I would think Mo Hurst are all going to make the team. Okay. We brought in Hassan Redgway, Kamoka Toure, who's going to make the team, and Kerry Hyder Jr. So it really thinks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 locks I have right here. Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam. I put Kevin Givens as a lock. Mo Hurst, Kerry Hyder Jr., Drake Jackson, Javon Kinlaw, and Kamoka Toure. So that's 9 locks already. So already you only really got 2 spots. Now, obviously, that's likely to change if anybody just goes psycho in training camp. But getting back to Drake Jackson, we'll go ahead. Let me see. Okay, he's driving. Jackson was drafted by the 49ers in the second round for 61st overall of this year's draft out of Southern California. He appeared in 28 games with 26 starts in 3 years, registered. I read all that. In 2019 to 2021, Jackson earned second team All Pac 12 honors. So he's definitely a development piece that can be productive right away. I'm going to go ahead and when we do our season preview, I'll have some sack guesses for everybody and some total sack numbers. But all right, moving on. We're gonna have to cover a lot of players here. So Eric Armstead, newsflash: Eric Armstead's gonna make the team, and I want to pause here about Eric Armstead here a little bit. Is that he gets a lot of flack, and everyone, including myself included, thinks the team made the mistake not keeping Defoe. But I think that's not to say that Eric Armstead isn't a great player. I think he's a very solid player who played out of position a lot. Had some injury, bad luck, but knock on wood, has been healthy since I want to say 2019. And so he's a locker room guy, he's a character guy, and yeah, he's not gonna look. I think 2019 will be his career high in sacks. I don't think he's gonna surpass that. But he's gonna be that type of player that casual fans, he's not going to sell a lot of jerseys or whatever, but he's a player that the coaches are going to want to keep around. And so, yeah, we'll talk about his contract and whether he'll finish his career as a Niner or whatever, but definitely somebody the Niners want to have around for at least this season. We'll get into future seasons later. All right, next player, Kevin Atkins, as an All Mountain West honorable mention defensive lineman. Atkins started all 13 games in 2021, recording 41 tackles, 26 solo, 13 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and added team best 2 fumble recovers. Atkins earned the most tackles for loss in a season by a Bulldog interior defensive lineman since 2014. In May, Atkins agreed to terms with the 49ers as an undrafted free agent. Not somebody I see pushing for a roster spot, but definitely maybe somebody that you could see making the practice squad. I'm all for keeping, honestly, I mean, not realistically would happen, but I mean, kind of be kind of cool to just have a practice squad full of nothing but defensive linemen, so we could develop a bit and just keep them, churning them out. Kind of like the Steelers are with wide receivers. Although this is what I think benefits the Niners more is that I think defensive ends, but defensive linemen impact the game more than receivers. Now it's getting a passing lead, and I understand receivers are going to be more and more and more and more valuable. But the two positions that are always going to win you football games are quarterback and D-line. Quarterbacks and the guys who stop them. So let's go right here. Alex Burnett, Originally entered the NFL with the Detroit Lions in 2017 as an undrafted free agent, Burnett went to join the Alliance of American Football as a professional American football minor leaguer in 2018. The 49ers scouted Barrett from the AFF and signed him to their practice squad late in 2019. In 2020, Barrett saw action in 7 games. In 2020, yeah. Saw action in 7 games, recording 2 quarterback hits on 119 defensive snaps played on the team's practice squad and played on the team's practice squad in 2021. We're gonna skip the next player and we're gonna get to him last. You're probably pretty sure already who that is. Okay, next player, Kalia Davis. We got a little number by the numbers segment for him too. I believe he'll be our last one. Yep, he'll be our last one. All right, so he of course switched from linebacker, by the way, as has been duly noted. One career forced fumble, 2 pass deflected in 3 seasons with the Knights. He went to University of Central Florida, which, by the way, my uncle is the dean of music there. Deflected 2 passes in 3 seasons with the Knights, 5 starts in 2021 season before a season-ending injury, and 61 career tackles with 11 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. Not too shabby. He's definitely somebody that will probably start the season on some type of injury list, probably the PUP list, and we'll see where he's at later on in the season. But a nice little developmental piece for sure. Samson Ebukam. Ebukam's performance grew exponentially in his first year with the 49ers. With only 11 pressures and 1 sack through the first 10 games, Ebukam shined over the team's final 7 regular season games and 3 playoff contests. The linemen recorded at least 1 pressure in each of the final 10 contests, and his total skyrocketed to 34 of the second half of the year. Ebukam notched 8 sacks during that span, including 1 in each postseason game. He's definitely, a lot of people were down on him. I was super high on him when we signed him. But there's a lot of factors into why the Niners turned it around last year. You could, of course, coincide it with Eric Armstead moving inside. But Samson Ebukam, like I just read right now, and the production he had over the second half of the season cannot be ignored for the turnaround and being able to make it to the NFC Championship game last year. And I know a lot of people see him as a cap casualty or somebody that's not going to make this roster this year. And I think he's. I mean, nobody's a Nick Bosa's a lock, but he's not a lock. But I mean, somebody would have to just be unbelievably great where there's no way we could put him on the practice squad. And, obviously they're going to keep the younger player cheap, younger, cheaper player. So that's something I could see happening. But I don't see something that is likely to happen. What? 4th Street Pizza's closing up shop, man. That sucks. Anyway, what's up, 49er Media? How you doing, baby? Good to see you. So, real quick, go ahead in your comments. Just sum up Niners. It's going legendary, brother. Any day you wake up a 5-time champion, it's a legendary day, baby. Go ahead and drop in the comments your thoughts about the D line. But that's what we're breaking down today. D Ford, I'm not going to get into D Ford. D Ford will be cut here soon. Kevin Givens stepping in at nose tackle in 2020. Givens cracked a career best 19 tackles, 5 of which were for loss, 3 quarterback hits, a fumble recovery, and a sack. Honestly, I think I'm gonna have to look at this later, the Niner license plate later. But Kevin Givens is gonna make the roster. Oh, we have some news. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, go ahead, media, drop it to me. I haven't seen anything yet. So yeah, go ahead and break it. Give it to me. I'm excited to see what it is. Um, I haven't seen anything. I'm scrolling Twitter. Um, yeah, I'm not seeing anything on Twitter. So let me see. Okay. Recently saw a doctor for a checkup. Is progressing well. SF is thrilled where he is at physically per rap sheet. That is some excellent news. So for people who don't know, Jimmy's basically going to be cleared. I would assume he would be cleared the 26th and excused from training camp. Oh, that it since it's long. Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and pull this. Go ahead and give it to me, media. Just copy it all down, and I'll read it once you're done. Just let me know when you're done, and we'll go ahead and we'll progress with the D line. But we're definitely going to get to that. Kevin Givens is going to make the roster. Maurice Hurst joined the 49ers in 2021 after spending the first 3 seasons in the NFL with the Vegas Raiders. Last season, the defensive lineman appeared in just 2 games, recorded 40 defensive snaps, two solo tackles before his season-ending ankle and calf injury. Hurst will get his chance to make up for injury-ridden 2021 campaign this upcoming season. I'm excited about Mo Hurst. Definitely excited to see Mo Hurst this year. I think the Niners can turn his career around. I think he could be the 2020 Kerry Hyder. Not leading the team in sacks, but just that player that shows up and does way better than anybody else could possibly expect and turns his career around and gets a nice little payday. Um Speaking of Kerry Hyder Jr., Hyder originally entered the NFL with the New York Jets as an undrafted free agent in 2014. Through his 7 NFL seasons, Hyder Jr. has recorded 141 tackles, 28 tackles for loss, 54 quarterback hits, 20 sacks, and a pass defended with Detroit Lions, the Cry Girls, Niners, and Seahawks. However, his best season was spent with San Francisco. In 2020, Hyder led the team in sacks, recording a career high 8.5 sacks while registering 49 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback hits, and a fumble recovery. Went on with Drake Jackson. We only got a few more left, though. We'll go ahead and we'll go Javon Kinlaw, but let me see. Okay. San Francisco with expectations he'll be fully cleared around mid-August. Perhaps then we'll know his destination. Okay, that's actually not so exciting news. Mid-August. I would assume then what would happen in media if you disagree with me, go ahead and put it in the comments. But I would assume he would be excused from training camp. He'll come in whenever he's ready to be physically cleared. They'll physically clear him, and then he'll be traded. I'm assuming that will all happen the same day. Everything, and then of course he'll fly out to where he's got traded to, and it'll be the trade will be conditioned on him passing a physical, which he passes a Niner physical. Let's be real, the Niners are going to pass his physical. So that's really interesting because he has to be excused from training camp. You can't have Jimmy. You can't have Jimmy around in training camp. I'm curious to know. Last I heard, it was expected that he'd be ready for training camp. So he's regressed. I'll have to dig into this story more and see what's happening. Because last I checked, Jimmy was going to be ready to throw by training camp, late July. Now we're hearing mid-August. That's already after training camp. I mean, the preseason started already. So where's he getting traded to? What team is going to trade for him halfway through training camp? And unless they're going to trade before he can pass a physical, because it sounds like this expectations he'll be fully cleared around mid-August. That's the Niners play the first preseason game August 12th. So I'm just curious. I'm gonna let go. This will be something that'll be interesting to see developed. Definitely got to listen to Matt Mayoko or something. This year for sure. Let me see. I'm pretty sure we're done with this article. I'm just making sure we're done with this article. Yeah. We should be. Cool. Got roster breakdowns. Let me see right here. Okay, here we go. Defensive line breakdown. D4, Kevin Givens, Kerry Hyder Jr., Drake Jackson, we already did. Javon Kinlaw. Oh, yeah. I mean, what do we say about Javon Kinlaw? We obviously know his issues that he had with Grant Cohn. I mean, look, before we get into that, because I don't really want to get into that much, he looks amazing. I mean, does this man have any body fat on him? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a human being that big, just that. So I think it's really safe to say this is it for Javon Kinlaw. I know this is only his third season. He's obviously got next year. They'll have to decide on his fifth-year option. It's not going to be picked up. And so you're going into next offseason, you're either going to give him an extension or you're going to just have him play out his fourth year and then, see where things go. I'm not picking up his fifth-year option. We got to see it. I mean, this man can't stay healthy. Love his work ethic. And he just looks like he should just be so dominant. And I think the part of the problem is everybody says, yeah, well, we haven't really seen much when he's been on the field. Well, that's because he hasn't been able to be on the field to develop. And so this has to be a huge year for him because he has had to have whatever development he's had in the first 2 years. I mind it short. And then he's got to put it all together this year. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and break down Javon Kinlaw entering 2021, the number 14 overall pick from the previous year's NFL draft, expected to make a massive leap in his sophomore campaign. However, injuries to his knee ultimately limited him to a season-ending surgery after just 4 games played. I see him every day working outside my window, said Kyle Shanahan, and at NFL meetings. This is the healthiest I've seen him since he's been here, and I think he fixed some of the things that were issues, and I'm excited for him as anyone. I mean, let's hope so. Because if not, then yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Javon Kinlaw's career is over, but and I know some people are going to disagree with this, but say what you will, arthritic knees don't get better with age. And I'll just leave it at that. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go. Charles Omenihu entering the NFL with the Houston Texans as a 5th-round draft pick in 2019. Omenihu was eventually traded to the 49ers in November 2021. Throughout his time with the Texans, the lineman recorded 7 sacks, 30 total tackles in his first 2 seasons. Omenihu became a postseason defensive threat for the 49ers in San Francisco's first playoff win. He notched 6 pressures on 27 pass rush opportunities across 35 total snaps against the Cry Girls. Somebody that's definitely going to push for a roster spot, and if I had to put my money on it, probably does. Hassan Reddick. Reddick was originally drafted by the Colts in the 4th round, 116th overall in the 2016 draft. Throughout his 6-year Eagles, he has appeared in 65 games, 12 starts, and registered 80 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 1 pass defense, and 1 forced fumble. Reddick has also appeared in 3 postseason contests and added 4 tackles and a half sack. Ultimately, I don't think a man who makes the roster. And then a man who I do think makes the roster, Tomoko Toure. Toure was originally drafted by the Colts in the 2nd round, 52nd overall of the 2018 NFL draft. Over the last 4 years with the Colts, he's appeared in 38 games, 3 starts, registered 33 tackles, 12 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Toure has also appeared in 3 postseason contests and added 3 tackles. Definitely somebody who's going to make the roster, and I think is going to do real big things for the Niners this year. Last season's postseason heroes, Jordan Willis. Over the last 2 seasons with San Francisco, Willis has appeared in 17 games and tallied 28 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, in addition to 3 postseason appearances where he's added 4 tackles. Willis finished 2021 season with 15 tackles, career high, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble in 10 games played, and also recorded a block punt in San Francisco's NFC divisional win against the Green Bay Packers. Love me some fucking Jordan Willis. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, there's one very special player. Except for Trent Williams, really the only other player that besides Trent Williams has argument for best player on the team. No disrespect to George Kittle. I just feel that it goes to Nick Bosa or Trent Williams because they're both at premium positions and they're the best at their positions. Can Nick Bosa win Defensive Player of the Year this year? Can Nick Bosa break the Niners' all-time sack record. The Niners win the Super Bowl. Could Nick Bosa be the first Niner defensive MVP? I think, especially the last two. Yeah. I don't know. Because eventually we're going to see peak Nick Bosa, right? Eventually he's going to have his career year. I mean, it just has to. However many years he plays in the NFL, hopefully all for the Niners, or at least all his good years. How many? When is his best year? Was it last year? I don't think so. But we are going to see that. And you know what? I very well might think it might be this year. And theoretically, a contract year. I mean, let's be real. Nick Bosa is going to be here. I mean, even at worst, the Niners are going to keep him through his fifth-year option. But between now and definitely that fifth year, what would have been his fifth-year option if he doesn't get his contract, which he will. But if he doesn't, we're going to see the best Nick Bosa has to offer. And that's scary. That's defensive. That might be league MVP territory. Now, ultimately, he's probably always going to go to a quarterback. But I mean, Aaron Donald's won it. I believe he's won a league MVP. I know he's definitely won Defensive Player of the Year. Nick Bosa can have like an all-time NFL season. Nick Bosa can break the NFL all-time sack record, not the Niners, the NFL all-time single season sack record, and not do it like Michael Strahan, who Brett Favre slid down. So, yes. And Nick Bosa is going to make the roster. Niners are up in negotiation with him now. Nick Bosa is going to be the highest paid defensive player in NFL history for however long till the next player gets his next contract. And it will shatter contract given out by the Niners. The Niners will never have given out a contract this high to a defensive player before. Mark my words. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here and get you ready for training camp next week, baby. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. All right, y'all. But before we get out of here, we, of course, got to remind everybody to help out Niner Faithful Radio by using our shop49ers.com affiliate link and save 10%. All you have to do is click on the link in the description of the video or podcast. Go to SeatGiant.com and use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show. And follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at Niner Faithful Radio, and Twitter at Niner Faithful R. And also, thank you for tuning in to the end of the show. As promised, this week's discount code for 10% off all Season 2 For the Faithful by the Faithful apparel is Season 2. 10% excludes any on-sale items and cannot be used with any other code. Offer expires midnight, August 30th, 2022. I shall see y'all next week. Till then, faith, love, and nappiness. Go Niners.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
See ya.